Well, I don't know what Donald Trump's going to do now. He'll have to fire the entirety of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because their new job numbers are out, and they're even worse than last month after Donald Trump fired its commissioner, but couldn't fire 2,000 economists that are doing the job of trying to figure out how many jobs this administration is making or actually not making. If he hated last month's numbers when they revised down by a couple of 100,000, the prior May, June, and July, he's going to hate these numbers because it shows that, for instance, in the month of August, the total amount of jobs that were made were about 22,000. They were expecting 80,000. So they missed the mark by about 60,000 jobs. And just to put this in perspective, for those that are thinking, that seems like a big number. Not in an economy of 300 million people, it's not. Not when you've got 7.2 million people looking for work. And as an example, during the Biden administration in its final days in 2024, they were making 170,000 jobs a month. Not 22,000, 170,000. It got so bad that they just revised the numbers again. These are all Trump administration numbers. He owns this economy now, having been in office for over 7 months. They revised June down so low, it made negative jobs. It was negative 14,000. And then additional on average of just about 22,000 a month for the 3 months prior. So what do we have as a result? We have as a result, consumer confidence is down, jobs are in the toilet, and putting pressure on the Federal Reserve, as if they don't have enough pressure, putting pressure on the Federal Reserve to make a change. September 18th is going to be the interest rate meeting by the Federal Open Markets Committee. Yes, that still apparently includes Lisa Cook, who Donald Trump has gone after and tried to remove for purported mortgage fraud. Side note, mortgage fraud, that is exactly the same thing that's being committed by 20% of his cabinet. It's not mortgage fraud at all. It's just owning two properties, listing that they both are your primary residence. So in September 18th, they're going to be meeting to cut rates. I don't think they're going to have a choice now but to cut rates, to bail out Donald Trump's failed economy. That's all we're watching. Between the tariffs wrecking our global relationships and causing instability here in America, and the tariff scheme wrecking our economy, consumer prices up, and it's not just up, 4%, almost 4%. You go get fruits and vegetables today, and you go to the market, they're up 30 to 40% because of the tariff war that Donald Trump started, self-inflicted wound. So consumer confidence, the new polling shows, it's in the tank. The operative word for this economy, according to the polling, was we're struggling. That's American people, voters for Donald Trump included, that are struggling under this economy 7 months in. In addition, just to get ready for the future, we also have new numbers out that show that people are not hiring. Hiring managers are not hiring. The Federal Reserve and its 12 different regional banks create what's called the Beige Book every quarter that evaluates financial performance by state, by district in America. 7 out of the 12 districts in America under the Federal Reserve report that they are hesitant to hire anyone right now because of the instability of the Trump administration and of the leader of the Trump administration, Donald Trump himself. So they're not hiring. Wholesale prices are way up, meaning the prices charged between business. The products that are necessary and the elements that are necessary to manufacture, those prices are up, which means they'll ultimately get passed on to the consumer. The tariffs are starting to get fully baked into consumer pricing, which means consumer pricing, another pressure for consumer pricing to go up. With consumer pricing up, confidence by the consumers down, wholesale prices up, and jobs in the toilet, that's the pressure on the Federal Reserve. They have one blunt force instrument to try to help the American people and the economy, now that Donald Trump has dug such a deep hole. That's called interest rates. That's the interest rate charge between banks that ends up being the bellwether for setting of interest rates for things that impact you and me directly, like credit card debt, loans, mortgages, student loans, and the like. Any kind of borrowing is ultimately set off the Federal Reserve interest rate, which now is between 4.25% and 4.5%. Add 2 to 10 points depending upon your credit score, and you'll figure out where your interest rate is. When that gets cut, that is cheaper. People hopefully will borrow more on the consumer side, I guess, go into more debt to help spend our way out of this recession Trump's creating. And the thought is more investment by suppliers and manufacturers. They'll bring in more inventory because they can float more loans, get more credit, ease the credit markets. And by doing so, hopefully create more jobs. Now, the downside risk of that is what the Fed has been concerned about, which is that hyperinflation happens. Cheaper money also leads to higher prices because people have more money to spend, and therefore in the market, more competition for capital and goods, prices go up. Right now, their target rate was to try to get inflation at 2%. We're heading to 4% under Donald Trump. So forget the target rate. Now they got to shift focus to the weakening and cratering job market created by Trumponomics. So I see at least a 0.5 point being cut on September 18th, and probably another 0.5 point, if that doesn't work, coming in October, as new data, new statistics come in rolling behind it. Who's Donald Trump going to fire now? He can't fire the numbers. The suffering of America under Donald Trump's thumb is real. What you pay at the pump, what you pay at the grocery store, what you pay for health insurance, if you can even afford it. And there's 20 million people thrown out of health insurance by Donald Trump. What you pay now that you no longer have federal subsidies for school lunch programs, for health care, for seniors programs. What you pay matters around your kitchen table, and Donald Trump is making it a hell of a lot worse since the Biden administration and Kamala Harris administration. I'll end it the way I started it. Look at the numbers. And behind every number, every statistic is a human being who is suffering under the Trump administration. Plain and simple. When you have negative growth for a year, when you're averaging 14,000 jobs created a month, 1/10 of what Joe Biden created, that's real human suffering behind each one of those numbers. When prices go up and you're now short, in the beginning, you start taking things out of your basket, right? Well, can't get this, can't get that, can't get the yogurt. The kids are going to have to skip milk today. I'll have to water the milk down. But then it becomes, how do you cut through when there's no fat? You're already through the bone. Then where do you go? When you're 5% short, 10% short, 30% short for what you need to buy to live, where do you turn? Not the federal government. And the state government has been defunded by the federal government by Donald Trump. How do we make a change? What do we do in the short term? In the short term, we got to put pressure on our leaders, the members of Congress and the Senate, to stop Donald Trump's failed economic policies. In the long term, midterm election. It's time to throw the bastards out. Get the Democrats back in, start getting economic policies that work for America and work for the American middle class and those even that are not in the middle class, not an economy that's working for the super wealthy, and hold Donald Trump accountable through impeachment processes and investigations. That is our next course. And together we will do it here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. So until my next report, slide over to Legal AF YouTube that I do in collaboration with the MeidasTouch brothers. Hit the free subscribe button. I got a dozen videos every day on Legal AF YouTube and Legal AF Substack, where we have an amazing community. We pull everybody together to talk about issues in the moment, twice a day on lives, lots of other amazing content on Legal AF Substack. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok.
Hey everybody, Ben Meiselas here from the MeidasTouch Network. I wanted to let you know about my podcast partner, Michael Popok's new law firm. It's called the Popok Firm. Michael Popok's pursuing his dream of starting his own law firm. really based on the popular demand by all the Meidas Mighty and legal AFers who were approaching Michael Popok with their cases and saying, can you help us? And at that time, Popok was not able to. So he went out on his own. He started the Popok firm, where he is now handling catastrophic injury cases like car accident cases, trucking cases, malpractice cases, big negligence cases, wrongful death cases. So if you or someone you know have a case like this, the consultation with Popok's firm is free. Give him a call, see if you have a case. It's thepopokfirm.com, thepopokfirm.com, or you can call 877-POPOK-AF, P-O-P-O-K-A-F. So 1-877-POPOK-AF. Give Michael Popok a call, and I'm really proud of you, Popok. Thanks for all the hard work you're putting in.